Here is another session from the series Defense Against Dark Act. We are focusing on developing the knowledge, awareness, mental readiness to prepare our own protection shields against these frauds and intruders. In this session, we'll be discussing about scams, a lot of these scams which are linked to OTP sharing. Let's take a look at how these scams are being carried out. So, the modus operandi is that the fraudster establishes a communication channel with uninformed people, and they masquerade as company representative and develop a benefit scenario for potential victim. There could be several benefit scenarios that they could develop, and we can have quick round of discussions in the next slide to provide some examples. And then, the fraudster uses some breach data to make this offer sound authentic, and uninformed people would typically respond with excitement with the prospect of gain, and they agree to provide support to avail the benefit. And then fraudster would ask to provide confidential info for verification purposes like card info. And then usually they will be asking for an OTP for verification purposes. And in haste, uninformed people end up providing the OTP, and with that, they become the victim of OTP linked fraud. So, what kind of benefit scenarios the fraudster are usually describing to the potential victims? Well, it depends a little bit about the kind of information the fraudster might have acquired about the potential victim. There would usually be some sort of breach data that they might have acquired, or they might as well just be trying their luck with some generalized data, and it might just be trying to describe a scenario that might usually interest a common person. So, irrespective of what kind of background information they might have acquired, they would be typically providing descriptions of some of these scenarios or something completely different than these. Like, for example, cashback on card or discount on bill payment, some new feature on the card which is provided at a very a discounted price point. It could be activating add-on card. It could be a discount on insurance. It could be activating new insurance. Any of these benefit scenarios or some completely different sort of benefit scenarios could be used as a method to lure the potential victim into this situation. Uh, these days, fraudsters are getting more and more creative, so you cannot pinpoint exactly the kind of scenarios that they would be trying it out. But you need to be aware that these type of scenarios are usually used for attracting uh, the victim towards this prospect of gain. So, what would be a counter strategy for this? Counter strategy would definitely require thorough situation analysis and the due diligence on deciding the course of actions. So, the situation analysis should give enough pointers to understand what sort of legitimacy is there on the scenario that is being described to you. And then, um, depending on how your information collection process has matured, you will have to take a decision on the legitimacy of this and whether you want to go ahead with it, or even if you want to go ahead, what offline validations you'll have to uh, carry on first before deciding or before taking the next step. These are usually you know the way you can safeguard yourself from these uh, scams. Now let's take a deeper look at some of these approaches for carrying out the situation analysis and the due diligence on deciding the next course of actions. So here are some precursor information that could help you carrying out a situation analysis. Important point to understand is that an OTP is one-time password, and a password is something that you can never share with anybody else. And OTP is not used for verification purposes. OTP is authentication. So you use the password for authenticating, you. So OTP is usually used for a second level of authentication. Verification is something different. Verification means that you are verifying that this mobile number belongs to you and you, um, as in your identity is verified through this verification code. Now, these are two different um, numbers. OTP is also usually a number, verification code is also usually a number, and these both the numbers are delivered to you through SMS in most of the times, but these are different. And you need to be mindful about those differences. So when you look at an SMS, it will clearly declare whether the number sent through this SMS is OTP or verification code. A sample OTP text will read something like, OTP is 123456 for the purpose on your particular bank account or card details and valid till these many hours or minutes, right? So it will always have a timestamp associated till how long this one-time password is valid. And it will typically also have this, text that will explain that you're not supposed to share this to anybody for security reasons. So that's the sample OTP text. Now, the sample verification code text will be different. It will be something like, dear member, 123456 is your verification code for the purpose of this and this. Could be a purpose like redeeming points, or it could be something else. And it will also probably mention like something like, to go ahead, share this verification code at the time of billing at the particular brand's authorized dealership. Terms and conditions apply, something like that. So the text for OTP and text for verification code are supposed to be different. Okay. Now another important point to note is that SMS sender from a company will represent its brand in last 6 characters of the SMS sender address. This is mandated in India by Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. So once you receive an SMS from a company, it would typically be showing an address like AA-ABCDEF, right? Now this ABCDEF, the last 6 character, is part of the SMS sender address, and it's expected to describe the brand name of the particular company or who is this sender of this SMS. And the first 2 characters, AA, is usually the abbreviation of the particular telecom operator who is sending this SMS on behalf of the company. So if you are mindfully looking at the SMS address, you might as well be able to verify that the SMS sender brand is the same brand with whom you are having this conversation currently or not, or as the person claiming himself or herself to be from the particular brand or not. So keeping these precursor information in mind, if you are carrying out the interaction, shouldn't be too difficult for you to assess the genuineness of the scenario. And one of the other important point is that pretty soon there is going to be kind of a process that will be rolled out where financial institutions, anybody who is calling on behalf of financial institutions for certain services or transactions or benefits, they would usually be, calling from a 10-digit number, which will start with the prefix 160. So once this is rolled out, if you're receiving a call, caller is claiming to be representing a financial institute, but the number doesn't start with 160 prefix, you might as well become suspicious about it. Now, while carrying out this interaction, you need to also ask for the full details of the benefit scenario as the person is trying to explain to you. Need to understand, the benefit that the person is offering to you is the same benefit uh, described in the company's website. All the benefit related details are visible. If such details are not disclosed in website, why not? What are the criteria for making this offer? How do you fit into that criteria? And if this is all the benefit related offer is owned by uh, the particular financial institute, or is it something that is owned by a marketing company who is working on behalf of the particular financial institute? How does the whole thing is working out? Right, so you need to have these details of the scenarios, and then you'll also have to get the details of the person representing the agency, whether the agency is the particular financial institute itself, or it's an intermediating agency working on behalf. So these details, if you are gathering, it should give you enough pointers to carry out the situation analysis and have a clear idea of how things are. And one of the other best practices is that when we are carrying out conversations such as this, it's better to have this conversation over mobile phone calls rather than having this over app-based voice or video call. And if you're taking it on your mobile, you might as well be able to record it using the call recording feature. So now, when once you have done the situation analysis and you're at a point where you'll have to decide the next course of action, there are a few recommendations that you can take care of or you can consider. Um, you should make payments only after offline validations. And if you are going to share something confidential like a security verification code, you need to be sure that the verification code that is sent to you is belonging to the brand, the same benefit provider brand with whom you're kind of having this discussion. And definitely, if you're making payments, you need to be clear that the payment method that you're using is um, as per the documented procedure of the company's website. And if you're not sure whether the company's website is accurate or not, or you're not being able to, um, if you don't know how to validate a company's website, you can take a look at one of the other content that is also published in the same series here, which talks about how to validate a website. So you can take a look at it, and with that knowledge, you should be able to um, ensure that if you are looking up some details from a company's website, whether the company's website itself is real or fake. These are essentially, it should give you enough pointers to decide the next course of actions. And in case if you're suspecting this to be a fraud communication, you should definitely submit this information to Government of India's Chakru portal, and then that would trigger an independent validation of uh, the number which has been used to make this call, the number which has triggered this fraudulent communication, uh, and that will be done by the respective departments. That's pretty much what we wanted to cover in this particular session, and we will be coming up with more recommendations and suggestions pretty soon. Stay tuned.